this guy was like, you're at this point and your problem right now is your core leadership. During the next 12 months, half of your company is gonna leave you. One of the worst things that leader could do is just like detach themselves or like disconnect from the business.
It's all in vain, and then it becomes your problem.
If I die today, will my business live on? If the answer to that question is no, then the business is intrinsically worthless.
Hey guys, I just want to give a quick shout outs to our sponsors over at Ringba for sponsoring this video. And also I get a lot of questions about where to start with pay-per-call. This is where I recommend you start. The pay-per-call revolution, written by the founder of Ringba, Adam Young himself, who was a big affiliate before he started this awesome call tracking software company. So yeah, this is exactly what I recommend if you're new to pay-per-call. I have a free course as well, which you can see in the description below this video. But yeah, let's get back to the content.
So hey, I'm here with John Casto and our boy Miguel at eComfy Lead in their office. It's an incredible space, and we're super grateful to have the time to sit down with Miguel. We're gonna talk about his story and how to succeed in business. You guys are gonna love it. I wasn't going to see my parents for like Thanksgiving or Christmas, and I hadn't for a long time. And this year, like, I took Kim up there to meet my parents, and we had a great time. And then on the way home, she's like, "Are we going to go back up here for Thanksgiving or Christmas?" And like, she didn't want to go to Michigan for Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's cold. But I was like, nah, I don't know. I'll try and convince them maybe to come down to Miami. And she said, "Adam, don't forget, how old's your dad?" I said, 78. And she said, "So you have what, like 5 Thanksgivings left?" And I had never counted like in reverse how many left I might have versus like, oh, they're going to be around or whatever. And it was a real shocking moment for me, actually. And then I was like, okay. And I like texted our travel agency and was like, "Hey, I need to go. Yeah, I'm going for Thanksgiving."
Yeah, I feel like family, I mean, at least for me, like since I like, for example, I left my country and I've never gotten back. My dad, for like, let's say political issues,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to like go through the whole thing of like getting himself a visa and whatever. So he's like, fuck, like I'm not going there. And I'm like, I'm not going there either. So,
Your parents are here.
what?
Your parents are here. Well,
No.
they're still in Venezuela.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's like my mom will always come like every year, visit, like stay here for like 3, 4 months, cook great food for me. But then like my dad is like, I haven't seen my dad in like what, like 6 years, and he's old. And then to add that on top, what you said, it's like you never know, like when it's gonna be their last time, So
Yeah.
it's like appreciating that, and like I feel like the first thing that I'm gonna do as fast as I can get out of the States, it was just like, of course, see my dad,
Yeah.
before like in the name of God, like I will able to
Yeah.
see him again. But that was kind of like a decision that I needed to take when I was like leaving the country. Just like fucking do it.
It's interesting you say this. In the car ride over, we were talking about personality type and compatibility in work and personal life, and how people think differently and check your blind spots, and why it's really important to understand your partners in business and personal relationships. And my partner in my personal life thinks so differently, like, and caught this family blind spot for me and framed it in such a way that she knew I would understand it differently. And it was a really powerful thing for me. And I'm really glad it happened, because I just, I need to see things or think about things in a certain way to take action, right? And by presenting it that way, just like you're saying, you're going to go see your dad, you're going to do this, whatever, like I just immediately had to react and then change my behavior.
Yeah, it's like kind of like seeing like also is just being able to see other perspectives or hear others' perspective. And then I'll say, like, if you're conscious enough to like you said, it's just like, hey, like what is that trigger?
Yeah.
What is gonna make that trigger for you? Like kind of like put your ego on a side and then say like, oh yeah, like, oh, what's my mistake, or like I fucked it up here, or I should change this. But I feel like it's also personality and ego thing, because some people have like bigger egos than other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't, like create a business or have employees or like have to manage people, then, or at least on in my opinion, you have never kind of like fight your ego, because whenever you have someone else around you, they'll have another perspective of seeing a situation, right?
Of
Because
course.
everyone see their life or their work through their lens. So my lens are different than yours, and so on. So whenever you have like something that you need to solve, everyone will like bring their points of view. But
Mm-hmm.
if your ego is like the biggest one, then sooner than later, like the people around you won't tell you anything, right?
Exactly.
So it's just like I was just being aware and conscious of like when is your ego taking over and when you kind of like shut it down to accept someone else's feedback and help you change without like having to like suffer too much or just like going through like a whole shit show.
It's so interesting that you say this. We were literally having a conversation about this at lunch. Um, Unfortunately, we didn't record it, but and we were talking about self improvement and the roadmap to being more successful in life. And part of that roadmap is understanding that you need to be able to identify your own flaws and mistakes, set aside the pride and ego, and then start asking questions about like, how can I behave differently to get myself a better outcome? What am I doing wrong that I can improve? Because you can't control external factors. You
Totally.
can control yourself and your behavior. And we even talked about this even earlier in the gym this morning, right? Like, if you want to improve yourself, or if you want to grow a bigger business, or if you want to do whatever you're passionate about, your only competition is yourself. And the moment you accept that and then try and rewire and do the shadow work and the self-help work and continue that as a lifelong practice, that's really the only way to achieve anything, right? Like competing with yourself and then changing your own behavior.
It is a competition with yourself, but I was like the other thing that one of the conversations that we have like a couple of months ago when like in your Rainbow Masterclass, I was just part of that process is not beating yourself up too much,
Yeah.
right? Like for me, I would say like becoming a gym rat, right? Or like becoming like someone that goes like into the gym and like goes through pain, because
Yeah.
that's the reality of going to the gym. It's like you're putting yourself outside of your comfort zone, you're going through pain, and then like if you think it's like, bro, it's just going to the gym to fucking have pain. Like it hurts,
Yeah.
right? But then that hurts kind of like, for me, hurts is like equal progress,
Mm-hmm.
because as long I'm able to put myself in front of that uncomfortable situation and then kind of like control what you said, like your internal, like how, like are you gonna let something else or someone else determine how you present yourself to the rest of the world? Because like sometimes you'll see people in business.
Read it.
So true.
Yeah. So it says, why is the cost of being fit so painful? And I replied, the cost of everything is measured in pain.
The greater the pain that you're able to, I'll say, like to feel and like live and go through, I'll say not the success, but I'll say like the bigger the fulfillment that you're also gonna have, because the
Mm-hmm.
more pain that you're able to suffer, and if you're consistently putting yourself in that uncomfortable situation, like going through that pain, on the flip side, it's just like clarity.
Yeah.
You see, it's just like, I don't know, like I do meditate a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have like a crazy day and then I would just come back, meditate, and I'm seeing that she's like clouds are like passing by. But then you just like see them, and while you see them and like start them, let them pass by, you also get like new ideas or new ways how do you go solve that problem. But getting into that state is fucking tough.
It
Because
is.
you tell people try to meditate, and it's like I try.
I think meditation could be different things for different people too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like it could be
The gym.
meditation could be
The
gym,
gym.
meditation could be running,
Turning off the
meditation could
phone and
be
just like
working. Like for me, when I'm the type of person like if everything is going wrong in my life, like I'll get into work. Like I'll get to the gym, of course, but then I just like focus, locked in my work.
Fully locked in. Yeah.
And so you have something inside of your head. It's like I cannot let this pass by, and I need to fucking win. I was like reading something yesterday that was called like Robert Greene. Do you know like the guy from like 48 Laws of
favorite
Power or
author.
something like that? He was saying something about like he called it like dead ground. And I feel like that is so crucial whenever you are like even starting it out, or even once you have like a business established. The only way to like move forward is to go through like that pain,
Mhm.
right? And then just like putting yourself, he says like a dead ground of where you put like maybe these like goals, right? And then for 6 months, you just like dug deep into that stuff, and whatever doesn't go into those goals, just like get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like once you do or put yourself as a person or a business owner to like some sort of challenges or things that can help you go through like some pain, the flip side is just like win, 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 win. And then you're like stacking up wins one after the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps with confidence, that helps with business, that helps
Yeah.
with branding.
Everything.
With everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Well, and then when the next challenge comes along, you're not reactive. You're not freaking out about it. And in business and in life, the only thing we really can we can guarantee a few things. We're going to die. Probably going to have to pay taxes. And shit's going to get hard, right? Like no matter what, it's going to be hard. And so I think existentially, if you can accept that and embrace it, then it's an entirely different journey. Like, I know I'm going to have to deal with all sorts of crazy stuff. I know I'm going to have days that I don't particularly like. But instead of looking at those as like, oh, I'm scared of this, I go, great. Those are going to be challenges. I'm going to learn a lot. And then whatever comes after that is a gift and an opportunity. And that mindset is super, super powerful and has allowed me to turn some fairly tragic events in my life into some of the happiest and best outcomes imaginable.
Totally. I mean, even like for myself, like as an immigrant coming here to the US, I did everything that you could do wrong. I did them wrong.
You and me both, brother.
Yeah, I did. Like I put myself in like so many uncomfortable situations and places where you say like, "What the fuck? Like, how do I get myself here? Like, and then how do I get myself out of here?"
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, it's just like those. I'll call them like principles, as like this guy Ray Dalio says. It's like you get like after one bigger like challenge that you have, you start creating principles. And nowadays I see fuck ups, like I call them fuck ups because it could cost me, I don't know, like $50,000, $100,000. Maybe because someone did something in the process of getting the offer or the approval process or any like little fuck up could cost you 6 figures, whatever. So at the beginning I was like so reactive. Every time that I would scale a campaign, I remember the first time that I scaled a campaign ever, like my first year in the affiliate marketing, like my first 100K day in one day. I was like, holy shit, like, fuck yeah. Like I couldn't believe that I was making that happen. But then the next day I woke up, not even the next day, like at that night at 9 p.m., I just like start, boom, 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 boom. Like, what is this? What is that? Like, we're not going to pay you. I'm like, holy shit. Like literally after that first 100K day, the next day I spent like 5 hours locked in that room talking with a lawyer because someone was trying to like fuck me over. And since that moment, I learned that every time my numbers are looking like super green and everything is like going like super,
You get nervous.
Terrified.
I'm like, what is coming? Like,
What's
I'm
Yeah.
just
wrong?
like,
What?
I'm
Where's
just,
the
what
army?
broke?
what? Yeah, no, I'm just like, kind of like, like the missiles, just like preparing
Yeah.
for defense.
It's funny how we train ourselves, especially like as the pure media buyer affiliate mindset, to when something's going too good, like you immediately assume the worst.
Skeptical.
Yeah. Because the first time it happens, you're like, this is incredible. I'm going to be rich.
Yeah.
And then something bad happens very shortly after.
Hmm?
It's like you see that 1,000% ROI campaign, and you are like, money glitch. I'm gonna become the next one, which it works, but with the time, I'm just getting like more principles, So when that is happening, I'm like, I kind of like create like a checklist of like everything that could go wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is looking amazing. Okay, let's check out the checklist. Oh. And have been able to like sometimes spot it like, like creative wise, or, like there maybe the zombie wise getting too crazy. It's just like, hey, just like slow it down a bit. So then you don't get beating your ass. But yeah, I would say like having those fuck ups moments and like having those losses and having the mindset, that like in order to win you have to lose.
Yeah.
No one, no one likes to lose.
No, of course not.
Like everyone's just like, no, we're
In
winning,
fact-
winning.
In
But
fact, the fear of losing is
Yeah, it's-
far more impactful to me than the joy of winning. Right? Like winning to me is not an exciting thing. I still carry that affiliate mindset, right? And so everything's going well or things are good, like I immediately become paranoid. Super paranoid. In fact, my girl calls me paranoid grandpa. Like this is one of my nicknames. And I'll be like, yeah, like this happened today. This is really great. We did this, and like this is crazy things happening, and this is awesome. She's like, great, let's go celebrate. I said, nah, I gotta watch. I'm terrified. Like this is not something's not right. I'm not sure. And she's like, dude, you gotta celebrate the wins in life. I'm like, no, I don't know. I gotta something's
So
off.
skeptical. I love it.
and that's one of the things that like nowadays, I would say like this is like my 5th year like running this business. And my mindset as, let's say, a leader or entrepreneur has changed so much from like early startup bootstrapping, just get shit done, bring money, make sure that we're like growing and we have enough money to pay everyone, like pay the bills,
Of course.
and like go from there to then just recruiting, having people, then not having the best processes, so then people leave, and
Yeah.
then you have like a hole, and then you just like start like trying to like manage everything by yourself, but then it's like no, it's you have to wait, you have to work on processes, you have to work on KPIs, you have to work on like I'll say like timely matter and measurable goals that your team can do. But then it's just like transmutating yourself from just being like a solopreneur doing everything yourself to then okay, like I have to figure out how did I did it, how I was able to make this money, and then how can I teach other people, help me out, do whatever I need them to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like that change of mindset, of that process of looking backwards and forward on what has happened and just like taking the issues into principles and then like pass it by to your employees is like a whole nother game too,
Mhm.
which nobody tells you.
No.
Like you're like, fuck, now I have to do this and like train these people and do this and do all of that.
Yeah.
And like also like go through leadership things with them.
Yeah.
So
So go back. You were a dentist in Venezuela,
yeah,
and then you came to the U.S. when?
I came to the US in 2017.
What was your plan?
So I had no plan, literally.
So why did you come then?
Because I just got graduated, right? And then my mom is like, you want to come back and work for the family business because we have a clinic. And I'm like, fuck no, I don't want to go to my hometown. And she's like, okay, like you figure out, make your money, like you are on your own. And like for you to be like to make great money as a dentist, you need a post grade. And at that time, the whole economy in Venezuela was like super fucked up. And my parents were like, well, we already paid for like your whole college, like figure out. We don't have the money right now. Like the country is fucked up, and the country was like really, really fucked up at that time. Like there were no food, like
It's
no water.
protests all
So
the
it's
time.
like
Yeah.
it's not as how it is right now. It was like when Trump was in power, so he had like a really, really strong like block on Venezuela. So they couldn't like buy stuff from like everywhere. So it's like really tough for them to get like things down there. And since we don't produce, the only thing is to get things
Imports.
outside. So
Currency
so it's like
collapsed.
currency collapse, prices are going up, whole country is like a fucked up top thing. So I just like started working there, did some money, was able to like save up a bit, and then I don't know, man. I got tired of like constantly living that scarcity mindset that they want to like put in people. I will say like the government down there. So it's like I want to get out of here, and I always had a visa. Like I'll come here and there, and then one of my friends one day is just like, "Why you just take a vacation?" And then I'm like, "Oh fuck! Like how am I gonna do this? Like should I do it? Should I not?" Blah, blah, blah. Then one of my best friends, she's a girl. She started with me like the whole like elementary school and then high school and everything. And she's like, "I'm already here, and you gotta be here too." And I'm like, "I don't know." It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy you the ticket, and I'll see you in 2 fucking weeks.
Wow.
What about that? And I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I'll
how do
pay
you
you a
say
ticket.
no
Like,
to
yeah,
that?
I'll see you there. So I came here. Leo, you guys know Leo.
Yeah, of course.
Leo opened up his house for me. Literally, I lived with the guy for like 3 months. He showed me like all Miami. He was already living in Miami for like a while because he was going to college in here. And from there on, the big question was, when are you coming back? Right? And
Yeah.
the first month with Leo, he was like, bro, you're not coming back. And we were like always like playing each other around. Like, no, I was like, no, yes, I will come back because at that time I had a girlfriend back in Venezuela. So it's like, I'm gonna go back to my girlfriend, whatever. And they were like always playing with me, like, you're not going back. You're not going back. You're not going back. And then I started doing like a whole bunch of like different like jobs. I work as a construction, I work as a valet parking, I work as a Uber delivery guy, I work as a chauffeur for like a rich guy here in Miami. Like I did everything that you could make here legally, of course, uh, to just like survive, right? And then I also like in the fifth month, when I just have like 1 month left to go. It was funny because I was working at this construction, and I was talking to like day to day people that I work with. And I remember like this Dominican guy, he was like how they talk. It's like, hey, Venezuelan guy, boy, like what you gonna do, you know? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like I wanna go. And he told me something. It's like, bro, this is your life. Your parents are already old. They already live. Just live yours. And
Mhm.
I don't know why that shit is stuck in my head so bad. Then like 2 weeks pass by and I'm just calling my ex-girlfriends like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm not coming back. Um, I don't think like there's anything there for me. And I think I'm just gonna stay here. And the question was like, what the fuck you gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm not coming back. So at that point, I keep doing all these shitty jobs, but then I start coming across different courses, right? Grant Cardone was like always spending money out there in marketing. And then the first course that I ever bought, it was like $500 course from Ty Lopez. And literally that just kind of like opened up my head to a world that I did not know that it was a real thing. And then I remember that course, he kind of like did some chapters, and then the other ones were made by like a bunch of people that we all know, like the Morrisons. Who was the other guy? I called another guy called Jeremy. Like a bunch of different people. So I started like seeing like public figure, but then I'm seeing like more and more and more and more people showing like, hey, we make money online. Like this is how the lifestyle that we live. And I'm start seeing all of this. I'm like, damn, like this shit could be possible. So I just like keep going deep to the courses. My friend used to make fun of me because I'll be the one that I'll come back on a Friday after working, and then they will be like all drinking and smoking joints or whatever. And then I'll be the ones like with my earphones here, like my phone, and like, oh yeah, we're having fun, but like I'm here. And then they always get mad at
Hell
me because
yeah.
like, fuck this guy, like we invite you, man, to spend time with us, and you're just like your fucking computer on your fucking phone, like what the fuck? I was like, I don't fucking care. Like I don't care about you guys. Like I love you guys, but I just want to learn. So just kept doing that, kept doing that, kept doing that.
Do you still hang out with those guys?
No. So just like keep doing that. And then at some point I found like a good job on a company that did like furnitures for like Hiltons and Marriott's.
Yeah.
So they will have like big projects, and then they will pay like really good. But then I was working like 7 days a week, like 12 hours a day. That helped me, like got like a stash of cash, and then COVID hit, and it's like all the projects were like stopped. So then at that point, when COVID hit, I was living in Arizona, in Scottsdale, Arizona, because we had a project down up there. Um, and then I just came back to Miami and said, "Fuck!" Like now what I'm gonna do again. Long story short, I ended up being a dentist again
Here in
here in Miami.
no way.
Yeah, I found a guy that he owns a clinic, and I just like I found the job through Facebook Marketplace.
Of all places.
From all places, I found the job interview through a Facebook Marketplace post. I reach out to guys like, hey, dude, like I know how to run the dental business, the practice. I'm a dentist, blah yada yada. And it's like, okay, come down here. I'll interview. Literally that same day that I got into it, he had so many patients that he was like, you want to know something? Okay, let's try it out. Let's see how you go. You
He
go and
tested you on the
yeah.
patients.
It's like you go and like work with this guy, and I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'll do it. So he liked it. Um, Started working with the guy. All this time, keep doing the courses, like, and then buying like maybe here and there, like any or like small course here and there. And then at some point when I was working with the dentist, um, man, I felt like I had all this money, right? But I couldn't do anything with it. Like I had no life. Like I was working from 6:30 a.m. to like 7 p.m. Monday to Saturday. On Sunday, I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to like
Just exhausted.
exhausted. So
Yeah.
yeah, just again for me, it was like there's gotta be a way that I can make more money and just not like kind of like the the thing of like you're exchanging your time for money, right? Until you figure out like there's must be a way that I can do that without like burning myself too much on the way. Um, so but that time I have already done like 3 or 4 courses, and I already know how to like do Facebook ads, all that stuff, but like really small budgets. And then one day, one of my business partners is like, "Hey, dude, like we have this new project. We're looking for a salesperson. Do you want to try it out?" I was like, "What do I have to do?" And it's just like, "No, just like do this course on LinkedIn, whatever, and then just like you need to like reach out to people and try to get them the offers." And I'm like, "Oh, I think I can do that." And then I literally start like researching for like advertisers or like advertisers on LinkedIn, and then just like, okay, I found this one and the other one, and then I start bringing like clients to the table, and then like my business partners right now at the moment they saw the value in me, and so it's like, okay, let's get this guy, like up and running.
The Z Comfy.
Yeah, I comfy.
So Carwin.
Carwin. Yeah, literally Carwin just like saw the I'll say like the potential that I had at that
How'd you
moment.
meet him?
I met Carwin through Louis, which is one of our other business
I
partners.
think I know him.
No, I think you haven't met Louis.
So I want to rewind here and talk about something. When I asked you if you still hung out with those guys, there was literally no hesitation in your voice, which is no. And There was no explanation. And I completely understand the answer, why it was short, and why you made that decision. But can you help us unpack that? Like,
Yes, of course. Um, I would say that it was funny because when I did the first course from Ty Lopez, and I'm seeing all these people like fucking posting like, I made 10 grand today, or the other one I made 5 grand today, and like, oh, like that type of course thing. And I'm just like, I call my mom, and I'm like, hey mom, like, there's like a fucking business that people are doing like $10,000 a month in here, and she's like, oh son, watch out, don't get into a scam thing and stuff like that. But then the more that I started learning, I was like, this shit is real. Like,
yeah.
there's legit people doing business in here. And I remember, like, once I literally learned how to like make a Facebook ad, the first person that I reached out to was my brother, because my brother is the one who managed the clinic of my family down there. And I'm like, dude, I know how can I get you customers, blah, yada, yada, yada. Like, we should do this and that. And he's like, yeah, like you don't know what you're doing. Like I'm too busy. Like, go do it with someone else. Go play with someone else's money. And that for me at that time, it was like so discouraging.
Yeah.
Then I went back to my mom and was just like, what a motherfucker he is, It's just like, look what he told me. And she told me something that this will go to the answer to your question. It's like, most of the time, the people that love you the most are the ones that hurt you the most and are the ones that they don't want to see you succeed. Why? Is because you are a reflection of what they cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
So when you decide not to kind of like follow the crowd as everyone else does, and you say like, fuck the crowd, I'm going to go my way. And of course you get pumped because like, oh, I'm going to go my way. I'm going to tell my people that I'm going to go my way.
And you think they're going to support you.
And you think that they're going to support it, which
no.
Why? I don't blame them either, but I feel like it's a mirror for them to.
What am I doing with my life? He's trying. If he succeeds, he's going to make me look bad.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm going to have to put in more effort. Maybe I'm going to have to look at myself,
It's also people fall in love with the idea of who you are to them at that time too. So when they see you change it's uncomfortable. Like I found that to be true too.
So I feel like you like push the right button, because like I'm not the person who I used to be like 5 years ago.
Exactly.
And if my friends, that I still call them friends, right? Because if I spend a decent amount of time and like share experience with you, I still like call you my friend.
Sure.
They just did not have also like the bandwidth to like go with it and like do the changes that you need to do. And then when you start doing those changes, because most people say like people don't change.
Oh, yeah,
people
they do.
don't fuck change, but if they want to change, if you don't want to change, you keep doing the same shit over and over and over again.
Well, there's a common misconception that like complacency means that someone's life is flat. I don't believe this at all. I believe that it's Boolean or binary or either up or down, right? You're either on a journey up or you're on a journey down. If you're not trying to better your life, you're doing the same thing and you're just coasting, that actually is a journey down, right? And I think in anything in life, business, it's either going up or down. Your relationships, they're either getting better or they're getting worse. And if people are not on a journey somewhere, it doesn't necessarily matter where on that journey they are, but they have to be striving for up in all aspects of their life. Otherwise, they fundamentally become incompatible with the people who are on that shit. Like, I cannot associate with anybody that isn't somehow focused on improving their life or growing something or being a better person or whatever it is. Like, for some reason, like, it's like oil and water.
Yeah. But I feel like goes to when when you're starting out and you are not like the person that you are right now,
Sure.
and then your friends see you like, ah, like he's dreaming, you know, like he
Yeah.
says that it's kind of like he says that he's gonna stop smoking, but he keeps smoking like a pack of cigarettes
The
every
same
day.
idea.
He's not gonna stop ever, you know,
Yeah.
until you hit that change in yourself, because it's like an inner thing. It goes back to like it's you against you,
Yep.
and the more of the demons that you can make peace with them, or like I also call them like we all have skeletons in our closets.
Sure.
We all fucking do. The difference is like, do you know them? Are you able to just go pull it up and it's like, yeah, I know that I have one here. Check it out. Do you like it? I have seen it so many times. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But
Here's what it taught me while it
Yeah.
was.
but most of people want to play it out like, oh no, like such perfect
My
shit.
life's
Like, oh
perfect.
no, I'm like perfect that, perfect. Bro, there's no perfect.
When you see people at conferences that like you haven't seen in a few months, and then they put on this front like everything's super perfect and like nothing's ever going wrong, do you automatically assume the opposite?
Not automatically like assume, because like I have learned never to assume. Just like besides that, assuming things, I'll ask them. Like I'll double confirm. You know, and that was something that a personal relationship taught me to kind of like do not assume stuff. But I'll say like the more conferences that you go, you develop what I call the BS detector.
This is my point. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So it's like you have your BS detector, and then you see people that we all see each other,
Hmm.
like in different cities of the world, and we all hang out and we all have like make friends. But I feel like better the relationship is when you're like truly open and honest.
Hmm.
It's not like, oh, I'm Mr. Bombastic and I'm the best one and the Spanish shit and what, blah, 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 blah. No, just like, tell me what are your problems. I'll know your success. It's like another people that says like, tell me what are your habits. I know where you're going to.
Yeah.
So
Well, if anyone's doing anything seriously worthwhile, nothing is ever perfect. They all have challenges at all times. Like, like we're doing fucking phenomenal. I can spend the next 3 hours telling you about all the challenges I'm dealing with right now. Like, the bigger you get, the more successful you get, the more painful it is, the more challenges you have to bear, the more stressful it is.
and in coming back to your point too, one of the things that like later on I learned in my journey, because going back, right, like I met this guy Carwin. He started like teaching me a bunch of stuff that I did not know. Like also, I'm like the person that I am is kind of like all the help that he has given me from like other parts of being a executive or a leader that I did not have, but he saw that I have like the talent to do it, right? And then just like having that in mind, and at the beginning I want to play it out like the perfect guy, right? Like, oh, I'm the new network, like everything is perfect, like everything is good, which is a total bullshit, because there's always problem. There's always going to be someone that doesn't want to pay you. There's always going to be someone that is just like trying to fuck you over, because as they're like good people, they're also bad people. So I would say like it took me like 1 or 2 years to kind of like understand that BS detector,
It's a skill
like
set in itself.
take off
Yeah.
that mask, show my true self, and with the people that I feel comfortable sharing, I'm like, yes, bro, like this happened, and this other thing happened, and this other thing happened. And then I feel like when I did that change and I start like openly without a mask, being my true self and share with people the issues, challenges, and also the wins that I have,
Of course.
then they will open up more to me. The relationship gets better. It's easier,
And the right ones do.
you see? So
The right ones will seek you
the right
out.
ones will seek you out, because you kind of like weed out, and also goes to kind of like you are vibrating into that type of people.
Hmm.
So
I think it also exposes the ones that aren't the right people to connect with because they don't reciprocate. Like you share the good, the bad, the ugly, and then you get just that surface level. Everything is perfect still on their end. It's just usually not the case. I mean, we all have problems, like what we're saying.
When you'll run into value structure and habit misalignment as well, which is really apparent. Like, you'll see people engaging in behavior that you don't engage in, and then, like you'll see a value structure shift among people, and that tells you a lot about all you need to know too, right? What's really interesting about what you said about friends is, and I have some friends that are not industry, and that's something I'm personally working on right now. Is I want to have more friends outside of the industry and different businesses so that I can learn from them. I want them to be, like same mindset, same similar area or beyond me on their journey. But at present, most of my friends are industry friends, and I've done business with them. And what I've found over the years is when I become friends with someone that I haven't done business with, I usually find that um, something's off or something isn't right because I don't truly know how they behave. But when I do business with someone first, and then over time develop a great relationship, um, those relationships usually last a really long time because we get to see how each other behave around money, right? And, like, a bunch of my close industry friends, like Johan Perez is one of my best friends. He owns Rank Media. And, like, dude, if Johan and I had a $10,000 dispute, it wouldn't even matter who was right or wrong. It was just like, nah, just have the 10 grand. He'd be like, no, you take the 10. Like, it wouldn't even be a discussion. We'd be like, there's no way we're going to rock this boat over some money. Let's do a phone call. Let's work it out. Um, and I think all of my friends and the people I associate with are like this. And business is a really great way to see how people are um, before creating a friendship. And I know that might be like a weird way of doing it. I don't think most people do it that way, but that just sort of is how like my circle naturally progressed. My business is a little bit different than yours, right? People have to trust me with their business because we power it. But I think, yeah,
I will say, like, adding up to your point, is money is a trust business.
yeah,
Like, going back to my first years, I wanted to play it out like the perfect guy, the guy that like will make your dreams come true. That if you have to go to like fucking Alaska to get you something, I'll go and do it. Which sometimes work, but most of them don't,
they don't.
right? And what I found out or like understand 2 years down the road is that money is a trust game.
Hmm.
And the more that you're able to trust the other person, like you said, when a problem arises, it's just like you know that the other person is gonna think of you. And you know that the other, like, if you like have a good relationship with that person, you you know that that person is reasonable and is gonna find a way that is gonna make sure that each party, like, has it equally.
Hmm.
um but on my side, always like to, like, create relationships where, like, I don't know, let's go for coffee. Let's have, like, let's have a lunch and just talk about, yeah, we're gonna talk shop, but you can talk about for your family or like what do you like to do. Because I feel like there's the aspect of all of us being human and want to have like a really deep full connection with the people that we're working with. And it takes time also to kind of like know what are the good ones, what are the bad ones, and what are the type of people that you should avoid, and what are the type of people that you should, like, like, find or seek them, and they'll also find you 100%. um
You go. You found yourself in more or less like a biz development role is how you came into this industry. Do you believe, obviously that's your natural fit, personality type. We were talking about like personality types and what was the Adam, what was the system that you used for
MBTI, the Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs?
I know what is that one.
Yeah.
Could you see yourself in another role, like just doing media buying or just doing creative, or do you believe you fell into the right role based on who you are?
No, actually, I think that you can fit them at this point of this year. One of the biggest challenges that we had, and one of our mentors, like, last year we did a mentorship with a guy that has like exited like already three business with like I don't know, like $500 million under his belt, and like how you call it, venture capital, when you like sell it out.
Sure.
And it's funny because since the moment that I met the guy, he's like, these are all the problems that you're gonna go through it. And I'm like, another guru trying to sell me on like the upsell of his workshop, you know. But I did took note to everything, you know. And then like when I invest money on mentorships, I from time to time I always like to go back and read what I've learned and what they told me. And this guy was like, you're at this point, and your problem right now is your core leadership. You're gonna have during the next 12 months, half of your company is gonna leave you. And I'm like, good copy, you know? Like you're trying to sell me out into all this stuff. It did happen. Half of the company is just like, I'm done, I'm tired, like, goodbye, guys, which I don't blame them. It was more than a work that we have to do in our core leadership to go through processes and go through like how we pay people, how we treat people, how you manage
Yeah.
people. So it's people. So going back to your question, people left the company, big challenge. I did not have, let's say, a major media buyer, like a media buyer that was like, let's say, managing 6 figures a month, right? Gone. My creative director, gone. My editors, gone. um, Key account managers, gone. And then you find yourself in a like,
Shit.
you're like in that dead ground
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
You're in dead ground, but what he says, Grover Green, was this dead ground. It's like you're putting yourself against the wall, and you know there's no back because there's the wall there. So you might as well get the fuck up, get your shit together, and keep shining. So if the personality types can adapt to something else, I would say depending on if you want to adapt. Like
Mhm.
if you want to do the change, you freaking do it. Do I love to do creative? At the beginning, I was like, fuck no, because I was used to have someone to do it for me. But if I don't have that person anymore, I'm not gonna go. It's like, oh, it's the end of the world. Guess what? If I have to do it, I'll go fucking do it. And then now I was like, sometimes I have like record the ads myself.
The universe just wants to upgrade you. That's what's happening. You just have to accept the lesson it's giving and take the opportunity you're granted.
So maybe it's my personality type, right? That I might be able to like change hats really quick without getting burned in the process. And then after I leave all that challenge, it's like, okay, we 100% need to get our shit figured out. So I was like turning down a castle, demolish that shit. Okay, we're gonna start building up again, brick by brick, step by step. What does this person have to do? What is the key things that he has to do? What are the key activities? How do we track them? How do we measure to make sure that the money that the company is investing in them is getting back in return? Right? Because then it's like that's a whole, I would say, like art of making a business and then having employees and then making sure that this might not sound like political correct, but
That's okay.
uh, you ended up working for them. They're not working for you.
Oh, no.
You don't want that, right?
No, hold on. You should be serving your
You
people.
should be serving.
This is not politically incorrect.
No, but I feel like it's just if you keep, or for at least what happened to me,
Yeah.
a big challenge. It was like we want to be the biggest company, high, and then we got to a point where we're like, I don't know, like 70 people, 80 people, and then I'm like, what the heck? Like I spend most of my time just like in calls and just like babysitting people. Like no. And then that's why we have to turn everything down and then just make sure that all processes are correctly,
Mhm.
and then that way we could just delegate more, right? And then everyone knows what to do. They can go and do it. I can help them out. um and I feel like that's the way to like surpass that. But on my mindset is that if you truly want it, you fucking figure out a way how to do it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, definitely media buying is, I'll say, like the most underrated skill now here in the planet. I hear a lot of people said that business development is more important, and they like have some friends that have told me like, no, we think nowadays that it's like business dev, creatives, and then media buyer, which in my
Well, if you can't do the
opinion,
media buying, you don't need the biz dev.
is kind of like, I feel like if you have the right people in the right places, everything goes smoothly and everyone will pay themselves out. So the company keep improving. But if you don't have again like processes, KPIs, like what they should be doing, then it's gonna be like a constant thing that someone is gonna come, they're gonna work for a while. And I feel like everyone knows in this industry, maybe not from the media buying side, but like from like networks and like account managers, like people are going around. Like they say 1 year here, and then like 1 year there, and then like one
Well,
year
that's
there.
generally a leadership issue.
That's a leadership issue.
If you look at a company's LinkedIn and the turnover of their team members, it's a clear indicator of what their leadership style and process is. You know.
But then it's tough because like most business owners have a big ego and they don't want to admit it. And that was the first thing that like my mentor told me.
Hmm.
It's like, you guys are the fucking problem.
Well, we're always the problem.
And then and like imagine Carwin's face. He was like, the fuck, man? Like, we came here to you tell us like we're all fucking wrong. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And it was totally right. So just again, another day, another opportunity to show up. If you have like another day to just wake up and give your best, give it, right? Just do it.
Yeah.
Because we never know when is gonna be your last day.
The ego thing's really interesting. I have found that a great way to sidestep that is, uh, for instance, I participate in a lot of development meetings. Um, I'm a software engineer and a software architect, and so I don't spend most of my time doing that. I certainly don't write code, but I'll go to the meetings when we're doing product development or strategy, or there's a problem. And what I typically will do is listen for a while, and then I'll just start asking questions. I won't tell people what to do, even if I think I know what the solution is. I will do my best to just continue asking questions until they come to the conclusions or come up with a better idea than what I had in the first place. And then I try not to give directives at all. I just keep asking the questions and do the Socratic method, right? Like, just, okay, we're not going to do that. And then they'll get mad. They're like, what do you mean? You just keep telling us no. And I'll be like, cool. So I have like 12 questions. So what about this? How's this work? Where's this come from? What do we do? And then what I find is, these people are better at what they do than I am. And so I need to empower them. And I do it through questions instead of trying to tell them what to do. In my case, though, we have a lot of really, really brilliant, talented, highly skilled and paid engineers. And so they're a little bit more open to pushing back than, maybe different types of team members in different departments, But as a leader, the less I tell people what to do and the more questions I ask, the better results I typically find I get.
It's a good one. It's a great, great, great one. And also, it's part of being like, once you're a business owner, like, what, why would you be a business owner in the first place, right? Like, because you didn't want to work for someone else,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then you have all these people working for you,
Yeah.
and then just like how to lead them, because it's like again clash of egos. So I feel like asking questions is a great way to like always hear what people have to say, because sometimes I feel like we're in a society where like we're always afraid of like being truly open and honest.
Mm-hmm.
So people like they might have the solution in their hand, but they're afraid to say it because oh no, what he's gonna say, or no, maybe he's gonna get mad. So I feel like you by you putting yourself in the position of like being open and asking them questions also shows that you know what you're doing, right? Because I feel like one of the worst things that leader could do is just like detach themselves or like disconnect from the
Yeah.
business to the point that they're like, oh no, like my business is moving, like I don't have to move, like
I don't have to do
I don't
anything.
have
It's
to
just
do
go.
anything, like I
Yeah.
just
Okay.
work like 2 hours a week and that's it. I mean, if this is you, congratulations. I
Sounds like
mean,
an opportunity
I
for me.
take my please teach me how to do it. But yeah, it, it goes to like you don't have to always work on the business, but you have to be in the business. For me, it's just like as if we were, I don't know, playing basketball, right? Like
Mhm.
if you're not in the court, and if you maybe you're not playing, but you see like players when they cannot play, they still have to go in the freaking court
Yeah.
and see their teammates. Because by the moment that you are not there, you're not showing up there, it's like your opinion doesn't matter, brother. You're not playing with the big boys in here. So if you want to play it out, just get yourself kind of like a little bit like put the the ropes
Mhm.
a bit and start doing some stuff.
Well, I think
Um,
it's really important for the leadership to understand all the pieces of their business, and to stay involved in them. I mean, I spend a lot of time on vision and strategy and marketing, right? Like my background's marketing, but I still want to stay connected to the support organization and still be in the development organization. And I still interview engineers and I still work with the support people and help customers, right? Like I get during AEP, like you see me here in the pod, like on the phone, like I'm not like reading the news here. Like people will hit me up and ask me questions and need things. And I actually really like that. I like being connected to the customer and as close to like ground zero as possible so that I don't lose sight of what's going on. And again, not perfect, right? Like no organization's perfect and we're always trying to improve. But if you're not involved, you can't see it. And you can't, like
yeah,
provide
the
suggestions.
viewpoint that you're gonna bring to the table, everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck you talking about?" Like that answer that you like, it's just like that was like 3 months ago. So I'll say like for those leaders, just like either just make the decision. Either are you in or either you out.
Hmm.
Like people never like someone that just like is not there working with them and they're just like, oh no, you're doing it wrong. This is not how you do it.
Well, if you only
Well,
worked
come and do it yourself.
if you only work 2 hours a week, like your team knows this.
Yeah.
And there's a different level of motivation there. They're not going to take anything as seriously. You know, what I've learned through my career is your passion and commitment to the business is going to be the highest bar of anybody. And then everyone else on your team is going to be somewhere below that. And so, whatever your level of acceptable commitment is, your team is going to mirror, but below.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for me, like, I want the team to understand that I would rather die than give up, right? Like I want them to understand that at 2:30 in the morning when I sent that email, that I was thinking about them and like our customers' success and their success, and I'm not asking them to work like I do. It's different for me. It's not work, right? This is my love, right? This is my passion. But for them to see it, they understand that this is about that and our mission. And then they behave differently. They care about the business and the customers, and they do their best. Even though it's not perfect, they won't be like, we haven't seen Adam in a couple weeks. Like, I don't know, I'm going to watch some Netflix instead of answer this ticket. Like, that's never happening at our organization, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just not. And then we talked about attraction, but then people we want to work with are attracted to that because really smart people who are really talented have unlimited options and they want to work at a place with other really smart, talented, and dedicated people because they find fulfillment in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an important thing about an organization. Um, And a lot of people, like you said, with the 2 hours, like I know a lot of people who take pride in the fact that they aren't really working that much, but still making a bunch of money. And I wonder how fulfilled on a personal level they actually are, because I don't think it comes anywhere near to the fulfillment, for instance, that I get out of what I do. I think you guys can hear it. Like anytime I talk about any of this stuff, like I'm just fucking
Pump.
geeked. Yeah, like I can do it 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And so I live a life of just like happiness and fulfillment at all times, regardless of the challenges because of this. And man, if my life was any different, I don't know.
It's because you identify what you want like really early in your like on your career, and then just like
Yeah.
committed to no plan B, and I feel like that's the way to go. What would you say is like kind of like on the medium buying side? It's just like building teams of media buyers that, because I feel like that's a whole art too, right? Like or do you do it by yourself, or you like to develop teams, and if you like to have like smaller teams or bigger teams of media buyers?
I'll be honest, I am the media buyer still.
You are the
Still.
still
I built a team around me. So
okay.
I've got a creative team that's our rocket fuel. I've got a back end team to make sure dispositions are organized, P&L for
Everything.
the day is updated, and then I have someone that does basic account management to make sure Facebook accounts aren't going
Okay.
down. They also do launches, so
Okay.
I basically manage anything that's actively spending.
Okay.
So my challenge at this point in my life and career is how do I then do that?
Okay.
What you're asking is, so I don't have the answer for that.
Okay.
That's the answer I'm working through myself right now.
Okay. But do you think you want to have a team, or do you think,
For sure.
or do you think just you want to keep like solopreneur stuff?
I've been, not so much by choice but by necessity, going deeper into the CPA side, like what's actually costing to produce the client in towards, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even been going into how do we take our data that we're capturing, and then what is that costing us on an age basis, on a real time, to produce that client as well ourselves, right? So I'm finding there's a ton of leverage and also a ton of joy for me in not manipulating, but managing that part of the business.
Okay.
And I think there's probably just as much leverage in the call center optimization side, if not as there is in the media buying side. Because I'm pretty confident I can get a good CPL. I can optimize the
Yeah, but
funnel,
then
the
it goes still
headline,
the
the
side, right?
creative. But dude, if you're doing all that and then the other side isn't actually producing, it's all in vain, and then it becomes your problem, right? Because if you earn on the CPA and they ain't producing, they're not hustling on
Yeah.
their phone, you ain't earning, right?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, I do want to get out of media buying. My personality is more like yours. I'm not a geek by nature.
Yeah.
I'm not super analytical. I know this, but I've just always been fascinated by being able to like turn ads on and then create an outcome. I've always found that super interesting, but I know naturally it's not what I should be doing. I should be working with people, like coaching, giving feedback. Like I should be, realistically, if I had to start over today, knowing what I know now, if I had someone to do the media buying, I probably should be the guy managing the call center operations or doing business development or helping bridge the gap between the two. So the answer is yes, I do want that, and it will come just because I'm gonna hit a wall. Like I manage 7 or 8 offers, spending at least, if not a few hundred, definitely a few $1,000s per day on average per offer. I can only, when you have to like start and stop your brain to like go through the process with one campaign and then one offer and then the next offer, and you have to do that multiple times per day. And then you're also juggling Skype messages and fires and everything. So yes, I want to consolidate to an extent, get out of media buying, oversee it, but put someone in that's better built for it.
Yeah.
It's not a mistake to have the skill. I think what you did is really smart. At the end of the day, the thing is with the independent media buyers is they're not building a business for their future.
Yes.
And so the question as a business owner you have to ask is, if I die today, will my business live on? And if the answer to that question is yes, then you can sell it. If the answer to that question is no, then the business is intrinsically worthless, because then someone else has to come in and run your business for you. It's like an independent media buyer's business isn't sellable. But like we were talking earlier about infrastructure and building a team and doing that, like, or like you have a team of people here, I have a team of people. Like that's creating something that not only provides for you, but it provides for the people you're responsible for. And that's a different thing. It's a different adventure. And it's one that not enough people in our industry take seriously and then go do. Because it requires personal growth, obviously, and risk and commitment. But that's how you create actual wealth. It's not, I'm going to be a media buyer and then like be wealthy. That generally doesn't happen.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, it goes to what you were saying, because it's kind of like going through like offer to offer, and then just like, let's say they're different verticals, right? It's kind of like a whole different mindset that you gotta have to get like
Different KPIs.
yeah, different KPIs,
different caps,
different everything. So
different
yeah,
hours, different schedules.
everything. And I like a lot the media buying part, because at the beginning it was funny when I just met Carwin, did a bunch of courses. My first thing is like, I want to be a media buyer.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I was like, I want to be the fucking media buyer, and he's like, no, and I'm like, bro, like,
He did
what
you
the
a
fuck?
favor because he knows you're built differently.
So he
Yeah.
was like, no, and I'm like, I want to be a fucking media buyer, and he's like,
No.
with me, at least right now, no. You go and do business development. And that thing stuck in my head so bad that we started up as a network, right? Like we bought traffic from different type of sources, different people here and there. We have all the problems that all network has, like the trusted source, and then everyone gets fucked and
Yeah.
yada yada yada. And then I kind of like stumbled my head into that wall like for like almost a year and a half, until I decided that I have to do something different. And I'm like, reach out to them and just like, we gotta get our own shit. Like we gotta have our own team that is ours, that we control every single step of the freaking process.
Yeah.
And if the shit hits the fan, it's our fault.
You can own it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, you try it out. We tested out with like 2-3 guys. It was good. And then the 2 or 3 guys that I have left, and left me with a whole mess. Like, I didn't know where my ad accounts were. I didn't know where like my IP were. I didn't know like my red. It was like a whole shit show. And then I was like, you know what? I got this. Like, I found someone else that I had in the same team. It's like, you are gonna become my next leader, and then we're gonna do it together. And I don't know like a lot of what you do, but I have the Skype chats. I have like that goes, because I feel like it goes into playing with Facebook or working on Facebook, but then at the same time, the work on Skype is like
I spend more time on Skype than I spend.
it's like the holy freaking
ads
grail,
manager.
right?
Yeah.
That's just like going back and forth with them, like caps where like not
Red Track, Skype, Facebook.
Oh my
Red
freaking
Track,
God.
Skype, Facebook.
So I really become like really good with this guy, that like the new media buyer that I have, and start building up our own team. And I found that fascinated to the point that I'm like, it was like, do you need someone else that manages them? I was like, no. Let them be with me. And it took me like 12 months to really make a team of 3 into a team of 12. And then out of the team of 12, at least have like a 50% of those 12 that are already on the 6 figures. And I'm telling, like, this is not people here in the States, like people all around the world.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty amazing.
I found like really amazing, just like literally it was kind of like my little dream of being a media buyer came
Well,
true.
you tapped into your skill set of being good with people.
And I was, since I knew kind of like the Skype part, it's like, hey, I got you on Skype. Don't worry. Just like hit me up if you need anything, or if something is going wrong. We'll figure it out. And then just like, turn on or turn off. And that taught me a lot of media buying. That nowadays, I completely trust them, and I'll be kind of like the same as you. I'll come up with like their weekly huddle or daily huddle that they have. And I'm just like, what do you guys need from me? if there's a major problem, okay, we'll start asking questions.
Mhm.
But then at this point, I'm just like, if you think this is what we need to do, well, I'll add this, and there.
To trust them.
But then, if you truly trust it, bro, let's fucking go. Because I feel, going back to something that we were talking like earlier, most people are not confident. As like we're not confident. You build confidence as you go, right? And I feel like one of the fastest way to build confidence is to have someone else believe in you
Yep.
when you don't even believe in yourself.
Yep.
So I have been doing that with the team that I have, at least on the media buying side, and it has been pretty well.
They're all in
Um,
Venezuela? Or
They
here?
are in Venezuela. We have people in Venezuela, Colombia, Argentina, Syria, India. That's it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
We have a bunch of people in South America, Brazil, a couple other countries, and some of them started as our lowest level support agents 5 or 6 years ago, and 3 of them. One now is our lead project manager. She got 2 master's degrees in the process.
Wow.
Another one is one of our principal engineers now. He was like a junior developer, started as customer support, and then like worked with all of our really smart people for years and got better and better and better and better. We pay him as an American in, I think he's in Argentina. I don't know.
Oof.
He's wealthy basically in his
As
country.
well.
He's balling. I'm always on Zoom calls with him and like see people walking back and forth in his house. One day I was like, "Hey, who's that?" And he's like, "Oh, we have a bunch of live-in staff." And I'm like,
You're like, I don't have even one.
I'm like, "Holy crap! Like this is amazing," you know. And then we have another one who's one of our senior developers now too, and it's so amazing to see these hardworking people from these places do that, and like I don't see the value in paying them market in their country. I'm just like, they're amazing. Let's just pay them market here. And like, these people will do anything necessary to help us succeed. They're so hardworking. They're so smart. They're so amazing. They've taught me so much. I'm so grateful for them. And then it's so cool to see them doing so well.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that, like, if you ask me, like, why do I keep putting myself into all these headaches and like keep like hiring people? Because one of the tough parts of, or the main challenges of like starting the business is like, first thing, when you need to hire people, you think of your friends, right, or
Yeah,
the family of your friends.
No.
So that's like the worst mistake. But I feel like we all have done it.
Yeah.
Because you see it work sometimes, but it's
It
not,
work- no,
it's not the norm.
It will
It's-
work for a while, I will say.
Family
That's how I lost
businesses.
all my friends.
Welcome to my world, brother.
Yeah, dude. I did it twice in a row when I was in my early 20s, and I was like, this is bad. I didn't have
Yeah.
any friends left, so I had to start doing it the right way.
So yeah, just like that was like a big challenge of us too, like figuring that out. But then I realized, because again, I feel like, oh, they betray me or blah 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 blah. You know, like you start feeling like your ego again, talking you shit. And I remember like having this conversation with Carwin, and I was like, bro, like I'm tired of training people. I told him I'm done. And he just like started laughing. And I'm like, why you laugh? Like I'm being serious. And he's like, come on, Miguel. Like, have you ever been heartbroken? And I'm like, yes, plenty of time. And because of that, you stop chasing like a new love or a new girl? No, right? So it's the same shit. Just don't
Yeah,
take
you're not
shit
gonna give up.
personally, and just like keep finding. And I found myself really grateful to have the opportunity to have a solid business in the US that can help people in any part of the world
Hell yes.
if they wanted to, like improve their life, do better, make more money, help their families.
Yeah.
For me, that feeling of like knowing that I have 12 media buyers, that maybe they're not the richest media buyer in the world, but they're doing way better ahead of, like, I'll say, the average in their countries, or even some people here in the States.
Yeah.
But it's because they have put in the fucking work. And that sometimes I feel like people that live in the US, since there's so many opportunities that they're bombarded with, they don't spend enough time, or they don't stick enough time with one thing in order to like make the Grand Slam, which whenever you have people outside of the US, that's like the only thing.
They'll take an opportunity and
Brother,
grind.
they'll be like smashing Grand Slam after the other one, after the other one, after the other one. And then if you like help them out with like computers, leadership programs, you know, like mindset things and stuff like that, like that's what like when I go back home, it's just like I'll work like here until like sometimes like 8, 7. And I'll get back home, maybe do another workout. And I'm just like sitting down, just gonna fall asleep, and gonna have the same thing of as you. Like maybe I'm like almost fall asleep. I was like, I have this idea. Fuck. Open up the computer and just like to the point like now I tell them like, hey, like if you receive a message from me, like maybe like 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, you don't have to respond me right away. Just like know that like there was like an idea that I had.
That's just me.
That's just me. Yeah, it's not like no rush. But
my
yeah,
team also has to
so
deal
it's
with
like
it.
it's having that in mind, man. Like being able to help people and like impact the life of their families too. That's just what keep me awake and keeps me like go show up another day, like do the hard shit, keep trying like improving yourself and just giving your best, right? Like over and over and over and over and over and over until that pain just it's kind
It's
of
just
like
normal.
you get used to, you know?
Yeah, you just accept
It's
it.
like fuck it, it's
You
like
just
another day.
live with the pain. No, it's the same as having all the goat awards in our kitchen on the
you
wall
saw
or
them.
under the stairs or whatever. I'm reminded immediately when I wake up every morning of why I do what I do. And you have one hanging over in your office over there.
I have another one coming this year too.
Yeah, and so I see that and I'm like, fuck, I need to work harder. Like I need to keep doing what I'm doing so that these people can keep winning. And one thing, a really powerful lesson to me that I learned after I lost all my friends was that
This is a great copy one.
I used to be like, hey, we're a family and we're going to get through this together. And that seems like the right way to describe a business that is important to you. But what I found is it's the wrong way. And that the moment I changed that mindset to thinking about my business as a professional sports team is the moment where all of that changed, right? In a family, I can't get rid of people for doing anything wrong. Like my uncle's coming over for Thanksgiving dinner no matter what. Like I can't, he's coming. My friends, they're going to be like, we're friends. He ain't going to get rid of me. And they do something really bad. And you're like, I'll give him the 67th chance, right? Like, come on, man, we gotta fix this and whatever. But we tell people when they join Ringba or during the interview process, like we look at our business as a professional sports team. We expect people to show up to practice. We expect them to keep their locker clean. We expect them to support their teammates, right? Whether they're on the bench or they're on the court or whatever it is. You're out for an injury, you're still supporting your teammate. And you know what? If you don't show up to practice or you don't perform so we can win, like, you need to go find a different team because I want to see everyone successful. And if someone proves to me that they will not be successful on our team, it's my responsibility as a leader to let that person go find a place where they can thrive because it's not happening here. And so people look at letting people go as this like ruthless activity. But in reality, if you do it as quickly as possible when you identify they're not going to be successful, it allows them to go find what they can succeed at and find a place where they're a better fit. And that is a gift to those people if they do it. And so it sounds heartless, but in reality, it is the way. Because the most painful thing you can do for someone is keep them in a role where they're not succeeding, right? Because they're beating themselves up every day. They're probably a good person. They're not doing it maliciously. They're just like, it's not working. And then you let them sort of hang on for weeks or months. And it's like hard on them mentally. They don't want to do it, but they don't want to give up, right? And then also you're punishing the rest of the team that they work with. And you're not showing the rest of the team that you care about them, right? It's like if you have a virus and I have the cure and I don't give it to you, but we're friends.
sounds terrible.
Yeah.
It sounds terrible, right?
Sounds
Like
terrible.
if I got a team of 8 engineers that are brilliant, and then this one guy who's just not ever going to be successful, like all I'm doing is penalizing those 8 people, and they see it and it sucks, and they'll put up with it. But we've trained our people to like identify this, and sometimes we make bad decisions. And we own them, and we try and deal with them as quickly as possible. And I take responsibility for that. But that value shift changed the outcomes in my businesses. Every business after that I built was significantly more successful
Yeah.
because of it.
I can relate to that mindset too, because like that was kind of like my whole mindset, like my personal mindset, and kind of like I wasn't fit. I wasn't like when I started out this like when I feel like my journey started when I come to the U.S. Right, like I started living like real life, like have to pay the bills, like everything, like credit card debt, like oh it's like oh shit, like new war. And I started listening to one of my like biggest mentors right now, and like he had a bunch of podcasts, and he was like, if you want to be successful in life, you gotta think of yourself as an athlete,
Yeah.
right? And athletes has like how they become successful. Like if you see Messi, like yeah, now everyone sees Messi and Cristiano, so it's like, oh yeah, like they're so like the best player of the world, but what they don't see is like those guys are training since they were like 4 years old.
Yeah.
Every
Destroying
single week.
themselves. Yeah.
They did not have holidays, they did not have parties, they did not have like so many things that you have to sacrifice. Or I will not call it sacrifice. I will call it like trade-offs
Investment.
or investments that you understand, and like okay. And like early in my journey I found that what are the things that I can control that can help me give my best output out there in the world is how can I control my head, right? How can I control my emotions? How can I do that? Okay, just never miss a fucking train day. I start meditating, just like literally at the beginning was like the toughest thing that I did, but once I like honed in that habit, game changer, like 100%. Like if anyone just want to try it out, I'll say stick it for long, because once you get to a point where you can like feel it and be there, it's such a powerful thing that you could do.
And for that, I actually recommend the Fit Mind app if you're new
Fit
to
Mind app,
meditation. And I have no financial interest,
yeah.
but I went through a really hard time in my life last summer. And one of the first things I did was dive back into the Fit Mind app and did nearly an hour a day, and it was really helpful.
I feel like just doing that and then sticking to that helped me. Just like okay, working out, then like meditation, and
You got
then
jacked too.
I got a little bit. I did no like last year.
Dude, you
big,
did both.
man.
I did 75 hard. I did 75 hard. Literally change like the way I was
And
looking,
it's stuck.
and then but then it's the whole
Yeah.
thing. Just like keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And bro, like I won't lie to you. There's days that I'm just like, fuck. Like I don't want to go train. Like I saw Harrison's post the other day. He was like
Every
telling the
day.
trainer like, hey, can we do a little bit later?
5:15 in the
Yeah,
morning.
it's like, no, fuck, I'm already here. So I found myself like a good gym buddy that we kind of like held each other accountable. So I
Mhm.
feel like that's another thing that you could do in order to, whenever you're trying to get like a new habit in your life, find someone that wants to kind of like develop that same habit too. So
Yeah.
you can kind of have like each other's accountability.
Yep.
And then just like keep doing those. And then like I'll say it's the compounding effect, right? Then maybe my first year I wasn't the best, the second year I wasn't the best, but the third year I did a little bit better, and so on. But I feel like as long as you are willing to do the work and you do everything in your power to present the best version of yourself to the people that is around you, then brother, like just you gotta relax, because then the results are gonna follow.
Hmm.
But just have the patience, but also the ability to work day in, day out, day in, day out, maybe for like specific periods of time where you're not getting like a massive win. But when that the first massive win that came, you are gonna say it's like it was fucking worth it. And
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy the ride.
And then you're gonna grind harder.
And then you're just like faster, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to make even faster. So, and then it's just, I feel like it's easier. As long as you keep true to your habits,
Yes.
because those were the ones that put you there. There's I know I have a lot of friends that they maybe, you know, like got really successful with when e-com, right? When the Shopify stores and stuff,
Yeah.
and print a bunch of fucking money. But then and then they got the habits and blah blah. But then they got all this money, they forgot about all the habits, they start wrongdoing, they start, you know,
Well,
like
the
behaving,
problem is their motivation was the money.
and then just like out of business
Yeah.
or
Broke.
broke, right? Or just any other type of, or bro, like I've heard so many crazy stories, like even here in Miami.
Yeah.
Yes, Miami's like the city of,
Especially in Miami.
especially in Miami. So yeah,
Well, we're going to the Heat game at the
Like-
FTX
no,
arena.
but yeah, man, I feel it's just like it's such a great journey, and just kind of like loving or like failing fast and forward,
Yeah.
but just loving that process of like not being the best and seeing other people wins too. That's like also this is like a mindset that I have. It's kind of like going back to the thinking of as an athlete, and one of the athletes that I like respect the most is Kobe, right? And then he has like his old Mamba mentality, right? Like just how can, like he will see people win and he's like fuck, like he'll create like enemies in his head, but
Yes.
it's nothing bad, like oh you're gonna hate on these people, but it's like that gives you some extra fuel,
Yes.
and that like in my personality, it's just like I was creating like, you know, like things in my head that would just like fire me up and like prompt me to be like really focused. That also is just like helps, you know, like whenever you kind of like fighting against, you know, like not a demon or like how you want to call it, but I feel like doing that helps you prime your head to just know that you're gonna do whatever it takes to get the result that you need
Mhm.
to, or that you are like at least aiming for, right?
Yeah. I mean, when we first started Ringba, Invoca had most of the performance marketing industry. And so I just started trying to pick fights with them. And a lot of people saw a lot of the shenanigans we did. And they were, you know, benign. We weren't like fighting. But it was almost like the Coliseum. Like people enjoyed watching it. They were like, wait a second, this guy from the performance marketing industry who was an affiliate is going out and picking a fight with a company
Invoca.
that has hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. Like they're worth over $1 billion. And at the time, people were like, this shit is nuts. Like we would do all sorts of crazy stuff and then like show people about it. And we just won hearts and minds this way because that company, rightfully so, went after enterprise, right? That's how they needed to grow their business. And I think it was a good decision for their business. And leadership knew this. And so they had kind of stopped worrying about our space. It wasn't their future based on their decisions. And so the market knew that. And so when we, you know, tried to pick fights with them and call them out on it, it's very playful, very fun. It was a great strategy and a lot of fun. And that was how I built, right, the enemy in my head. And it, you know, it sort of changed the motivating factor about that. Like we used to, you know, we wrapped a Rolls Royce and Ringba logos at a trade show and figured out who was on their dinner guest list. And then had a chauffeur out front of our hotel to take their guests to their dinner. And then we called the venue over and over and over again and simply asked, hey, what time is this dinner? And nothing malicious. And the manager of the restaurant eventually called them, was like, hey, like this guy keeps calling back and asking, when's the dinner? What's going on? And so they were like, they're trying to sabotage our dinner. And apparently most of the conversation at dinner was about us. And then we had our good friend, the chauffeur and the Rolls Royce sitting out front of the restaurant to pick up their guests, take them back to the hotel. And you know what? We didn't solicit any of those people for their business that day or at all, really. Like we weren't being aggressive about it. We were just like, playing games. And
putting your name in the door.
yeah.
Right? Like putting yourself there.
Yeah. And so they would come to trade shows and they downsized their booth at our trade shows. And I would send people over to their booth to like take photos of it, like selfies with it. And they'd be like, hey, what are you doing? And we're just like, oh, you know, like this is like a UNESCO heritage site for us. And then they're like, team members would be like, what the hell? This is crazy. And they would freak out. And then they would talk about us to their customers. It was nuts.
Can you believe these guys are Ringba?
Yeah.
What the fuck is Ringba?
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
We would send customers who were friends over there and be like, hey, go over there and ask them what they do. And then when they tell you, be like, oh, we use Ringba. And it would drive them nuts.
Did they just stop showing up to the shows?
No, they still go, but there's like the last one I was at, their rep, I talked to him, and I don't do this anymore. I just introduced myself, and you know, like you know, because when you are the market leader, you don't attack the non-market leader anymore. Like it's not like that's positioning strategy. So I just go over there and be nice. And the guy complained. He's like, yeah, they didn't even give me business cards. I'm new. They didn't send anyone out to really train me. You know, like this isn't a good experience. And
I've seen you guys grow, and like for me, it's been kind of like when I was starting out in the business. I remember like literally my first event ever. It was Legion War Orlando, like a few years back, and I just remember like it was you guys talking about like paper call. It was Alex from Market Call too talking about paper call.
Yep.
But there was no one else talking about paper call.
No, it's just us.
And then it's just like kept doing like my second and third year. I did travel a lot, and so I keep seeing you guys, and it's like seeing that progress and like to see where you guys are right now, and like at least on like production wise on each event, and just like, man, it's just like wow, like how you guys got it all together, and like you said, how you became the leader of the industry.
We
Kind of
just
like-
had a Wall Street banking firm value the business. If I told you what it was worth, you'd probably be shocked.
I believe you. Totally believe you. I feel like when you were telling me all your story, like a few weeks ago, I finished reading like the book of Netflix, like no rules, something like that. And they were talking about like the moment where like they were just getting started, and literally like how they start teasing to like Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like they literally came at them and just like, hey, like, do you want to buy us? Do you want to like buy us like a part of our company? And they're like, fuck that, like,
fuck off.
fuck these guys.
Yeah.
Like, who do they think they fucking are? Like, what the fuck? And like 3 years later, or like I feel like it's the same kind of like time frame of like your guys' hyper growth had happened. So it's like, damn, it's just like, brother, congrats.
We're showing up at the enterprise events now. So
nice.
Yeah.
What would you say about like those enterprise events? Like from my side, I was like looking at the biz dev side, and like, and from media buying perspective too, I feel like you have like phases too. It's kind of like you find those big buyers. Like it's tough to find bigger buyers.
So
right?
let me take this one. The answer to that's obviously yes. Look, the number one question anyone asks me is, can you introduce me to some buyers? And the answer to that is unequivocally no. 2 reasons. One, the reason I know literally everyone in the industry is because I service all the people in the industry. So I can't introduce you to people that I know because of these people that did business with them or whatever. 2, reputation. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not making any introductions personally. Like our team has a program for this. Our biz dev people will, but I will not, right? But what I will say is the most successful companies, big or small, that are working with large buyers are the ones that position themselves very differently. I think John Ventura from AdSync has done an amazing job of this over the last 2 years. We've had many conversations about it. And what I love about John is he's a good listener, and he does not take offense to direct feedback, right? Like he doesn't care that my delivery is whatever it is. He's just like, I want to know what you think about this. And then he goes and he takes action. And so he has created a beautiful brand. He's positioned himself differently in the space. He's leveled up his trade show presence, how his team behaves. And I met with him the other day, and I was truly humbled and flattered. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm just copying how you make your people do your thing, right?" But here's the thing, though. Our goal at all trade shows is for everyone at the trade show to go, okay, they rule the market, and I need to understand what they're doing. I want to be involved in whatever they're doing. And regardless of who you do business with, if you don't do business with me, you would prefer to. And that's the sentiment, right? Some people want to pay less money. That's fine. Okay. They don't want to, they're not as serious about what they're doing, and that's okay. But if you take your brand and elevate it and present yourself very differently, it's much easier to get into the large buyers and the large enterprises, because they get so many requests on a daily basis that everybody is noise. And so you have to be the rare bird in the flock. You have to be the golden eagle with all the pigeons, right? And so I ask people regularly, what are the marketing materials that you have that you send to these people? And they're like, well, we just like send them an email. It's like, hey, can we get some cap? Like, the answer is unequivocally no, right? Like, a major Fortune 100 came and met with me at a trade show recently. They literally had fake badges, so no one knew who they were.
Okay.
And they show up at the booth, and we're like, we heard Adam Young's here. I'm like, okay, who are you? I look at the badge. I'm like, I don't know you guys. They're like, no, that's not us. We're with this company. We just, it's just like crazy. We just get bombarded, but we don't want to work with anybody. I'm like, okay. And the thing is they will work with people, but they want to know who you are. They want to know what you stand for. They want to know what your process is. They want to know how you do compliance. They want to know why you're different than some random media buyer over here that just copies ads and routes calls. And so the best people at that have documented what they do. This is our media process. This is how we make and test our creatives. This is how we do our compliance. We have a call center. It does X, Y, and Z. Here are photos of the call center so you can see it's a professional operation. We have this beautiful branded office, and they'll make a short video that like shows their office and their team and people smiling. All their LinkedIn profiles are professionally made. All their staff, their face, their profile pictures are like professionally done. They're presenting themselves like, hey, if there's a problem, we're not going anywhere. And so you can call us and we're around.
Got it.
Right? And a lot of people shy away from exhibiting at a trade show, but that's what credibility is.
About.
Right? Like, if you walk into a trade show, let's say LeadsCon, and you ask yourself, who supports this industry more than anybody? You're going to say Ringba. It's around your neck. It's everywhere. The events, the crazy booth, the whole thing. Right? Like, we don't need to spend that much money, but we do because you're like, oh, hey, these people aren't going anywhere. They're going to go above and beyond no matter what. If I ever need anything, I can find them literally anywhere. And big enterprise comes and sees it and goes, I mean, this is the obvious choice because they have the biggest team. And that means that, they're going to be able to provide resources to us that other people don't. And so when media buyers do not say like, oh, hey, we have 12 media buyers. Here's the compliance process. This is our creative process. We have 60 people that do creative, and you put it in a beautifully designed 3-page PDF or a marketing video or something like that. You send that to a major buyer. They're like, we don't have any cap right now, but the next time one of their current partners screws up or has a problem and they don't want to work with them anymore, they go, who else is on the waiting list? You know what? I remember those guys who had that amazing video and I really like their compliance process. That should be easy for me to clear through legal. I'm going to call them. Legal's going to look at it and they're going to be like, okay, cool. We're comfortable with this. And then they'll send a contract. A lot of media buyers do not have legal counsel. They sign anything. They don't review anything. And so,
You've been down both before.
Before,
of course.
Let me
Not
tell you,
anymore.
it can take 3 to 6 months to negotiate an MSA with a major company for us, right? And they find it weird when someone just signs whatever they sent, right? And if you're not asking about agreements, they find it weird. And you need to have lawyers review these things. And You need, I was on a plane recently talking with Ray Sinlau and Jake from Scale Club. And Jake was asking me, he's like, I really want to scale my business, right? And a lot of people saw this post on Instagram. What they did not realize is we had one hell of a mastermind on this plane. I should have recorded it. I'll never make that mistake again. And so Jake was asking me about this, and I was like, go make a new website. Don't spend $500. Spend $25,000. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, spend $25,000 and have a beautiful website made. Have all your branding match across all channels, create materials, do all this stuff, and build a beautiful brand. So when people go to your website, they're like, oh, this is a real company. Oh, they have a team of people. Oh, they care about how they're perceived in the marketplace, which means they care about their customers. Yeah, like how you represent yourself tells the market how you're going to represent them. And so this is the legwork that's required to get all the big buyers. And every single company I know and we service that works with everyone that everyone wants to work with does all of these things. Or maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. They do them very well, and they invest the money into it. I mean, we have a new website coming out. The mandate for that was the most incredible website related to phones ever made in the world. That was the minimum I will accept. And we spent a lot of money on it, right? I didn't pay myself a bonus. I went and had a creative team of 18 people, I think it was, redesign this whole thing for us, do a bunch of work. And that then sets our brand up for like the next 10 years or 8 years or whatever it is. Our current website, we spent a lot of money on it. It was over $100,000. That was 7 years ago or 8 years ago. And we still win awards for it. And we still get compliments. It's still crazier than what most people will put out. We need something a little more mature now, but that's been a boon for us, right? Like, I remember when a major insurance company went to our website and then found my cell phone and called me. And I was like, why did you call? And they're like, hey, man, we saw your site. We're not sure what your technology does, but your website is just, you probably make some incredible stuff. So can we like schedule a demo or something? And those people have been our customers now for 6 years. And so it just came from like, hey, you're putting effort into what you're doing. And so we think that you'll put effort into working
Got it.
with us. Yeah. So
I think
that was a really long answer.
No, but I
like
think you
that's-
nail it down because it goes to like the step by step of how to do it. Like most people want the shortcut, like you said, like, hey, give me the contact of the person, right? But I was like recently in another podcast with Dennis, and we're talking about like like how you could also like share your strategies or your playbook with people, and they might still not have the same like your same results. And it goes back to, and I was telling him something like, it goes back to connecting the dots, right? Like how you're able to connect the dots, and like feel like that's like you showcasing kind of like each part of the process, and everyone can take a bit here, a bit there, connect the dots as they might want. But in reality, I feel like it's the way it is, because you're building brand, you need to build presence, you need to provide value, and then if I feel like if you check all those trees, if you are looking to have like enterprises buyers, then it's just they'll literally trust you more.
Exactly. They'll be looking for you. They want that win. And at this point in the evolution of the industry, these big buyers, they know who's next on their list. It's really hard to get into them. And we power so much of the industry, it doesn't necessarily serve us or our customers to make a referral like that anyways, unless we know for a fact that these people are going to work their asses off to make sure that the big buyer is successful. Because we power a lot of the business that goes into the entire industry and a lot of these big buyers, whether they work with us or not. And like, I don't want that door to be closed for us. I need to have those relationships so that when a customer has an issue, we can help, or we, can figure out how to do something. And so those relationships are really important to us for various reasons. Um, and so we protect them. But here's the thing: when someone puts in all that effort and like really does the work, and I've known them for a long time or whatever the case is, I will help them. I will do the introduction.
It's like you do the final pass. That's
Yeah,
making
exactly.
how you call
It's
it.
like, oh, hey, you did all the work.
Yeah.
And you need someone to run it into the final end zone to win the game. You know what? I'll do it because I've seen you do the work. I trust you. I understand how it's going. We have a personal relationship. It's whatever. But I shit you not. All day at a trade show. Hey, Adam, man. Hi, we haven't met. My name's John, Bill, whatever. Yo, can you introduce me to like some direct buyers? And I'm like, do we work together? Are we customers? They're like, no, but we will be customers if you. I'm like, what? Like, what? Are you kidding me right now? But that's like the common affiliate perception. And they have to realize that calls is a business. Like, this is something you can sell. Our boy Anthony sold his business for $50 million in cash. Like, people need to take this shit a lot more seriously. And there are a lot of people who do, and those are the ones that are putting up real numbers. I mean, I got another $100 million GOAT award that I dragged upstairs the other day, posted about it. I mean, like, this is getting ridiculous. I got $1 billion of awards in where I live. Like, it's nuts. But it's all the people that are doing these things.
Yeah, no, and going back to what my early beginnings too, and I feel like when you're starting it out, there's not a lot of people that you can go and ask them like how you do. Like maybe nowadays, I feel like you have been doing a great job of like showcasing the industry, like telling people like, hey, this is the ins and outs, like this is how you can make all this money, but this is how you can lose all this money too, right? Like when I started out, I don't know if maybe I didn't know you or all of you, but it was like fuck, like there's so many shit that I don't know, and like
I'm still learning stuff.
Yeah, like what to do.
3 years.
That I feel like sometimes people want to make it work, but since I feel like we all have like this sense of having like instant gratification of like, oh, I did this job and I want to make the money right away. Or, hey, I met this guy for the first time, but I'm going to ask him for a favor right away. Because we want like the instant gratification. Like we don't want to kind of like build the relationship, right? And this is something like a thing that like me and my business partner, we always argue. Because they will be like, go, 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 go. And I'm like, yes, I'll go, go, go. But you need to understand that this is people. You need to create a relationship. You need to create a bond with them. You need to share time with them. You need to share drinks. You need to share coffee. You need to share food. So then they can really trust you.
So they know if there's a problem, you'll talk to them about it.
Exactly.
And work it out.
Exactly.
Like, I personally do not care how bad shit gets. I don't. It could be the worst thing imaginable, right? If you call me and just say, hey, this happened, even I did it, I knew what I was doing, I created a disaster. Can we
skip to the good part?
Can we figure, like, what is it possible for us to not go to war, right? The answer to that question is always yes. Like, I don't think you would love in that scenario, like what we would need to figure out to like not go to war. But I think that phone call is very powerful and you can like work out any situation. And I have yet to be in a situation where I picked up the phone and called somebody and been like, hey, you're going to hate this. I did this. Wasn't intentional. It's not great. Like, I made a mistake once many years ago and got dragged into someone else's lawsuit. Oof. And I called both sides and I was just like, hey, yeah, that's my fault. I'm really sorry. I know you're super mad. You're probably going to sue me. My lawyers told me not to call you, but like, dude, we've been in the industry, I think at this time, like 10 years together. Like, can we just like, how can we figure this out? Like, and he was like, fuck, man. Let me think about it. I'll call you back. Like, great. Called the other side. Hey, man, like, I own this. I really screwed it up. He was super pissed. And he was like, yeah, man, why did you? I'll call you back. And you know what ended up happening? Both of these people are still friends. I respect them both very much. They will still take my calls. I see them around. I'm really grateful for that. I'm embarrassed that I made this mistake. It was not intentional, right? I didn't even do it. It was one of my team members, right? Like,
Yeah, but still, you got the balls to
I-
own
I owned it.
your mistake.
They were like, whatever. Go away. Like, this isn't your fight, whatever. Like, and and I should have paid more attention to what my people were doing. This was not Ringba, by the way. This was another business before Ringba. And it was a good lesson for me, but also a good lesson for me was, if you just own your mistakes and you just make a phone call, like most people,
It's gonna be way easier.
Most people don't want to fight. It's not productive, but most people won't make the
No,
call.
and we're all humans, and I feel like again goes back to why sometimes like nowadays when like someone will come to me and is like, hey, send me traffic, or like, hey, like run my offer, or like, hey, let's make all this money. I'll be like, yes, I'm down to test it out. I'm down to do all the work that I have to do, but first I want to know you. Like I
Mhm.
want to see how you treat other people. I want to see how you manage like maybe a little setback, right? And one of the main things that like also going back to like working with bigger enterprises and kind of like being super transparent and honest, it had happened to us too, like last year. Public traded company, big fuck up from one of my media buyers, like, but those are the mistakes that like from the media buying side is like those type of good problems that also like any media buyers will like like I feel like we'll say it's gonna be worth it. And it's like long story short, one of my media buyers found out a video on TikTok, like a regular video on TikTok, right? Yada yada. He just went, download the TikTok, upload it on a campaign, right? He set up like a big budget because he was already running that offer, but with other creatives. And he was having like a decent ROI, like 20, 30%. So he had money to play with. So he saw the video like 1 a.m. in the morning. I was like, fuck, I'm going to just download this stuff, upload it right now, put it 10 grand, call it a day. He went to sleep. I woke up the next day. And I'm like looking at my stats. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, what time is it? It's like, I know my numbers, right? Like, whenever you start tracking your numbers, you're like, by this hour, I know that I should already have done this amount.
Yeah.
When I woke up at like 7 a.m., I was just, damn, what is going on? And I just like start looking at the offers, and I'm like, damn, this shit might be working. Brother, by 4 p.m. that day, that video has like 50 million views. Long story short, the bigger company got reached out to from another bigger company, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And then, of course, like they trace back to me.
Yeah.
Like your
The
affiliate.
video was theirs.
What?
The video was theirs.
Yeah. No. The video was not theirs. It's just like the video was saying something that it shouldn't be saying. Let's say it that way, right? But then from on the flip side, they were like, like when they reach out to us, it was like on the third day. So it's like the first day, 50 million views in like 8 hours. So second day we ripped that off even bigger and higher. And they were not complaining at all. They were just like, send more, send more, send more, send more, send more, send more. It becomes a Friday, and then suddenly they're like, stop. Like shit hit the fan. And I'm like, oh, okay, what are we gonna do? And long story short, it was like, hey man, you are right. We fucked it up. This guy made a mistake. We own it. And we're like, and I did present myself like the solution right away, right? Like, hey, like I know it's a fuck up, but we have done a good amount of money. So let's figure it out all together and then just like put an end on it. And they were like, you know what? Like, thank you very much, and let's do it. And it just we solve the problem just by being honest and being just like transparent. I feel like sometimes in this industry we all want to just like, oh, like no, I don't want, I cannot say or whatever. But if shit hit the fan, bro, it's just like acknowledge it, take care of your thing, and just move forward. And then I feel like people will appreciate more than just like you giving them BS, like, oh no, it wasn't my fault, like, oh, it wasn't me.
Well, if they know you're going to call if there's an issue and own it, that means that if there's another issue, you'll deal with it. And so, like, that is actually better than having no issues at all.
I feel like it just strains the relationship even better.
Yeah.
Like the more challenges that you go through, even like with your publishers or with your buyers, even with your employees, is if you're a good problem solver and you make sure that at the end of the situation, each party like got what they deserve. It's not like one party will get more than the other one,
Yeah.
and that just doesn't leave like a bad mouth like flavor. Is I feel like if you're able to make sure that that doesn't happen, it just like strains the relationship, and then the money that you can make together is just like unbelievable.
Endless. Yeah.
Totally.
Dude, you have been so generous with your time. Thank you so much. Like,
Thank you,
we
brother.
ran way over. This
No
was an
worries.
incredible,
Always appreciate it.
Awesome, man.
incredible podcast.
Thank you,
so
brother.
much.
Thank you.